Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Shawn. Today we are looking for some wisdom, some encouragement to start our week. We are looking at Psalm 144 today and Proverbs chapter 13. Psalm 144 is another Psalm of David. It has this great ending. Verse 50. It's only 15 verses long. It says, "Happy is that people that is in such a case, yea, happy is that people whose God is the Lord." There's just a difference in hope and in thought for those people. They have a different perspective on life. They have a hope that probably shouldn't exist when you look out into the world and you see just how awful the corruption and wickedness and perversion is. And yet, God's people have this strange happiness anyway. A peculiar people. Something else I want to point out before we get started. In this psalm, you're going to see a word that's often used in our proverb. Well, it is used in Proverbs, but when we read Ecclesiastes, it's used basically every chapter. And that is the word vanity. And you're going to see it multiple times. 3 times, I guess, but that's still a lot of times within the Psalms. It's the Hebrew word habel. Habel. And it means meaningless, emptiness, uselessness. It lacks importance. It's a waste. You see Solomon talking about everything is vain. Like every pursuit of man is vain, meaningless, pointless. David uses this 3 times in today's psalm. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here in just a minute. How about we dig right in? And let's see what the Word of God has to say to us this morning. Open up your hearts. Let's begin. Psalm 144, King James Bible. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teacheth my hands to war, and my fingers to fight. My goodness, and my fortress, my high tower, my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I trust, who subdueth my people under me. Lord, what is man, that thou takest knowledge of him, or the Son of Man, that thou makest account of him? Man is like to vanity. His days are a shadow that passes away. Bow thy heavens, O Lord, and come down. Touch the mountains, and they shall smoke. Cast forth lightning and scatter them. Shoot out thine arrows and destroy them. Send thy hand from above. Rid me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. I will sing a new song unto thee, O God. Upon a psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings will I sing praises unto thee. It is he that giveth salvation unto kings, who delivereth David his servant from hurtful sword. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanities, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. That our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as cornerstones polished after the similitude of a palace, that our garners may be full, affording all manner of store, that our sheep may bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our streets, that our oxen may be strong to labor, that there be no breaking in or going out, that there be no complaining in our streets. Happy is that people that is in such a case, yea, happy is that people whose God is the Lord. All right, so there's Psalm 144. Let's go back up a little bit. Verse 3 says, Lord, what is man, that thou should not take knowledge of him? Or the Son of Man, that thou should make account of him? Man is like to vanity. His days are a shadow that passes away. So there's the first use of the word vanity. He's saying, God, what is man? I mean, man is so unimportant. What is man that you would bother to even think of them, to take knowledge of him? Like in David's mind, even that is just kind of wild that God would even take the time to care. He says, man is like to vanity. His days are a shadow that passes away. He's like, it's meaningless. Man is meaningless. He's like a shadow. He's here one minute, gone the next. Like, life is short. Matthew Henry says, man's days have little substance, considering how many thoughts and cares of never-dying soul are employed about a poor dying body. A man's life is a shadow that passes away. In their highest earthly exaltation, believers will recollect how mean, sinful, and vile they are in themselves. Thus, they will be preserved from self-importance and presumption. Here's a fruit of the Spirit for you. You understand just how unimportant you are. Now, you are important to God. But this idea of self-importance should be different in the believer. You know why in the last days, in the times that we're living in, people are so easily offended? Scriptures say in the last days many will be offended. It's because they have a perverse, wicked view of their own self-importance. They presume that they have such high value and that everyone should just cater to them. And then when you don't, if you do something that's insulting to them or say something that's insulting to them or don't cater to their every little whim, and you don't approve of their every little sin, and you don't celebrate all their perversions, they're greatly offended because in their minds and hearts they think, how could you not want to please me? I'm so important. Whereas the child of God, they have grown to understand. They've been preserved from self-importance and presumption. We're not easily offended because we don't have that high of a view of ourselves. We're not that easily offended because we've looked in the mirror. We know the vile sin that we've all battled with. It's really hard to be judgmental towards others and to have a high view of our own self-importance when we truly know, like when we've truly come to terms with the things we've done and the things we've thought and we come to that understanding that we're just all at the mercy of Christ. Then what follows is humility. And that's why David can say, happy is that people that is in such a case. Yea, happy is that people whose God is the Lord. Let's move forward and let's see if we can't find some wisdom to start our week as well. We're looking at, Proverbs chapter 13. Let's have a look. A wise son heareth his father's instructions, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressor shall eat violence. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. We talk about this so often. Here's something else that humble people do. They keep their mouth shut. I wish that I could say I was perfect at this, but I am so far from it. And I've even been known to think, man, that person gossips a lot. That person just really should keep to themselves. That person really should stop complaining over there. But then I'll catch myself complaining and murmuring and opening my mouth in situations that I shouldn't be opening my mouth, and correcting somebody when I should just sit over here and be humble and be quiet. Lord, help us. Guard the door to our mouths. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, the scripture says. I mean, it's literally life and death. You can lose everything by just running your mouth. But he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction, it says. Verse 4, the soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. Again, a basic general truth, general wisdom. Laziness leads to poverty. Laziness leads to having nothing, but the diligent, they shall be made fat. A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome, and cometh to shame. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but wickedness overthroweth the sinner. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. The ransom of a man's life are his riches, but the poor heareth not rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. Let me explain that to you. Wealth gotten by vanity, by meaningless means, right? Meaning you haven't done anything for it. It'll diminish. But he that gathereth by labor shall increase. There's a difference between I inherited a bunch of money or I won the lottery versus somebody who built something and labored for decades to build it. And then they see the fruit of that. Versus somebody who was handed to. You know, the percentage, I don't know what it is, but I would suspect it's extraordinarily high. Probably shockingly high. The percentage of people who win the lottery and then find themselves bankrupt, even after winning $100 million, which is a number that my brain can't even comprehend. And they go broke. Because the same habits they had that led to their poverty to begin with will still be there. You'll still be you, except now you have no reason to limit yourself from the things that you want. And you'll spend yourself into oblivion in a hurry. The amount of professional athletes, the amount of professional football players who are bankrupt a few years after they end their career is staggering. If you can't manage money when you have a little, you will destroy your life when you have a lot. And especially if you did nothing to earn it. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. Verse 12. Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. We all know that feeling, right? Deferred hope. You hoped and you hoped and you hoped and you hoped and it didn't come. You hoped and you hoped and you hoped and you hoped and you prayed and it didn't and it wasn't delivered. And the thing didn't get answered. Or you're still waiting, the delay is still going on, and you wonder, how much longer can I really hold out and believe? Hope deferred maketh the heart sick. That's just truth, just general truth, just general wisdom. But when it cometh, it says, when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. When God finally does come through, when the timing is finally right. Verse 13, whoso despises the word shall be destroyed, but he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. Good understanding giveth favor, but the way of the transgressor is hard. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth up his own folly. A wicked messenger falleth into mischief, but a faithful ambassador is health. Poverty and shame will be to him that refuses instruction, but he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools who depart from evil. Let me read that again. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of sinners is laid up for the just. Much food is in the tillage of the poor, but there is that is destroyed for a want of judgment. He that spareth the rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chastises him betimes. The righteous eateth to the satisfying of the soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want. That is our wisdom and encouragement for this week, my friends. I pray you've been blessed and strengthened. I want to remind you that this is a broadcast that is 100% listener supported, so if you're being blessed, you want to support the mission of truth, you can do that by going to scriptureandprophecy.com. There's a donate and subscribe tab at the top. You can use PayPal. You can become a Patreon subscriber for some exclusive content, or there's a post office box there as well. Thank you for listening. Peace and grace be with all of you. And until next time, God bless.